Ladies and gentlemen, today, I invite you into a secret chamber, not a physical room, but the sacred place within you where battles are won and lost long before they are ever seen by the world. Victory does not first happen on the outside. No, it begins deep within the corridors of the mind and heart. You see, you are not defeated by what you face. You are defeated by what you believe about what you face. I heard you. Guard your mind. Tend the garden of your heart. Speak life over your own soul. And refuse, absolutely refuse, to allow inner defeat to rob you of your outer destiny. Victory is never an accident. It does not begin with applause, nor is it birthed on a public stage. Victory, the kind that lasts and transforms, is conceived quietly and invisibly within the human heart and mind, long before anyone else ever sees it. It is an internal conquest that happens in the unseen realm, long before it is celebrated outwardly. A person may look strong, confident, and successful on the outside, but if they are losing the silent war within, the victory will be shallow, temporary, or even illusory. Likewise, someone may seem to struggle externally for a season, but if they have secured victory within their mindset, within their inner convictions, their success is inevitable. It is only a matter of time before the outer world catches up with the inner reality. Everything starts inside. Before you take a step, you have already decided whether you are walking toward triumph or retreat. Before a word leaves your mouth, you have already shaped it with your inward beliefs. If you think yourself weak, if you think yourself unworthy, if you nurture fears in the silence of your thoughts, those fears will eventually form the reality you live in. On the other hand, if you train yourself to believe that you can rise, if you feed your mind with truth, if you protect your thoughts from the seeds of despair and doubt, you are building an invisible fortress that no storm can tear down. Victory within means you have already fought the hardest battle, the battle against yourself. Think of every great achievement in history, every life that left a mark. Behind every outward triumph was an inward journey, often unseen by the crowds. There were moments when that individual could have surrendered to fear, when the weight of discouragement whispered that giving up would be easier so. Or perhaps, but they won, not because the path was free of obstacles, but because they first won in the battlefield of their mind. They refused to lose inwardly. This is where so many miss it. They focus on the external, trying to fix circumstances, waiting for conditions to be perfect, hoping for easier opportunities. They fail to understand that until they master the inner landscape, no change of environment, no external blessing, no helping hand will be enough. If you carry defeat within you, even the greatest opportunity will slip through your fingers. If you nurture victory within you, even the greatest challenge will not deter you. Internal victory begins with awareness, a deep honesty with yourself about the state of your thoughts and beliefs. It requires courage to face your own mind. It requires humility to admit where you have allowed fear, resentment, or self-pity to set up residence. But without that honesty, you cannot rebuild. Without pulling out the roots of inner defeat, you cannot plant the seeds of inner strength. Next, victory requires intentionality. It does not happen by accident. You must choose what you think about. You must guard your heart diligently, like a farmer guards his most precious field. Negative thoughts, unchallenged, will grow into destructive behaviors. Self-doubt, if left unaddressed, will weave itself into the fabric of your decisions. Victory demands that you patrol the gates of your mind, accepting only those thoughts that align with the life you are building. And then, victory requires perseverance. It is not won in a single day. You cannot change your inner life with a fleeting moment of motivation. You must persist. When old patterns call you back, when discouragement knocks, when fear disguises itself as reason, you must stand. Again and again, you must stand. You must choose the higher thought. You must choose the braver belief, even when you do not feel it. Perhaps especially when you do not feel it, you must hold fast to what you have decided inwardly. It is a daily fight, but it is a noble one, and the reward is priceless. Because when you win within, you become unshakable. You do not need the approval of others to validate you. You do not crumble when challenges arise. You are anchored by an unseen strength, fortified by an inward certainty that no external storm can touch. Victory from within is the foundation for all true success. It is the hidden root that supports the visible fruit. It is the quiet triumph that leads to the public celebration. Without it, every gain is fragile. With it, every loss becomes temporary. True victory, the kind that transforms a life, that changes the future, always begins inside. Thoughts are the architects of our lives. Every action, every decision, every habit begins first as a thought. Long before you see a change in your external world, the blueprint is drawn quietly within the mind. What you consistently think about, you eventually believe, and what you believe, you inevitably become. The power of thought is so immense, so foundational, that to ignore it is to surrender control over the very direction of your life. Most people live unaware of the forces shaping them from within and kicker. They are driven by ideas they have never consciously examined, reacting to thoughts planted in them by upbringing, by culture, by fear, by past failures. Yet, whether you are aware or unaware, the principle remains. Thoughts govern life. You are always moving in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If your mind is filled with thoughts of defeat, then even if opportunities are placed before you, you will sabotage them through doubt, procrastination, or fear. If your mind is saturated with visions of growth and possibility, you will find a way forward even when obstacles rise against you. It is not the size of the barrier that determines your success. It is the quality of your thinking about the barrier. This is why two people can face the same challenge and have two entirely different outcomes. One sees it as an ending, a confirmation of their worst fears. The other sees it as a beginning, a test that will make them stronger. The difference is not in the situation itself. It is in the thoughts each person chooses to embrace. The power of thought lies not only in what it makes you feel, but in what it moves you to do. Repeated thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs drive decisions. Decisions create habits. Habits shape destiny. A single thought, if repeated often enough, holds the power to alter the entire course of your life. This is why small negative thoughts are never harmless. They are seeds that, if left unchecked, will grow into forests of limitation and regret. The mind is like fertile soil. It does not care what you plant. It will return to you whatever you sow. Plant seeds of confidence, courage, gratitude, and persistence, and your mind will bear fruit that nourishes you in seasons of challenge. Plant seeds of fear, bitterness, and self-pity, and your mind will produce a harvest that drains your strength and blinds your vision. Training your mind is not an act of force. It is an act of focus. You cannot control every thought that pops into your head, but you can control which thoughts you dwell upon. You can choose which thoughts you water with your attention. You can choose which inner conversations you allow to take root. If a negative thought comes, you are not powerless. You can replace it, speak against it, choose to focus instead on truth, on hope, on the possibilities that are yet unseen. Many people believe they are imprisoned by their circumstances, but in truth, most are imprisoned by their own thoughts about their circumstances. They see walls where there are actually doors. They see defeat where there is opportunity. Change your thoughts, and you begin to change everything. It is not an easy process. It requires vigilance. It requires a daily commitment to renewal. It requires noticing when your mind begins to slip into fear, self-pity, or anger, and deliberately choosing a higher thought, even when the lower ones feel more natural. Especially when the lower ones feel more natural. This is not about blind optimism. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing the most empowering interpretation of reality. It is about recognizing that while you cannot always choose what happens to you, you can always choose what you think about it. And that choice makes all the difference. Every great leader, every great innovator, every great overcomer has mastered the power of thought. They have learned that external success is impossible without internal discipline. They have learned to think intentionally, to guard their mind from the poison of doubt and fear, and to cultivate thoughts that align with their vision, their purpose, and their calling. You have the same ability. It does not require a special talent. It requires a decision a decision to no longer be passive about the contents of your mind, a decision to become the master gardener of your inner world, a decision to honor the power of thought, using it to build rather than destroy, to lift rather than to weigh down, to create rather than to shrink. His power is power. It's the first power you possess, the one that governs all the others. Treasure it, train it, direct it, act it, and it will lead you into the life you are meant to live. Emotions are powerful forces that can elevate you to heights of creativity, passion, and connection, or they can drag you into pits of despair, fear, and confusion. Every human being is deeply affected by their emotions. If you truly learn to master them, emotional mastery is not about suppressing what you feel or pretending to be unaffected. It is about understanding emotions, managing them wisely, and ensuring that feelings become servants of your purpose rather than tyrants over your life. To master your emotions, you must first recognize that emotions are natural. They are not your enemy. They are signals, messengers sent from within you. Anger, fear, joy, sadness, excitement. All these emotions are part of being fully human. But mastery means that while you listen to the message, you do not let the emotion drive the vehicle of your life. Imagine emotions as passengers in your car. They are allowed to speak, but they are not allowed to grab the steering wheel. Too often, people allow fear to seize the wheel and steer them into inaction. Or they let anger take over and crash relationships that took years to build. Mastery means you hear what the emotion is saying, but decide with wisdom how to respond. The first step toward emotional mastery is awareness. You cannot manage what you do not recognize. Many people live in a constant state of emotional reaction without even realizing it. They feel anxious but have not paused to ask why. They lash out in anger but have not explored the hurt beneath the rage. To master your emotions, you must learn to pause. Before reacting, you must ask yourself, what am I really feeling? What triggered this feeling? Is this emotion guiding me toward truth, or is it distorting my view? Next, emotional mastery requires acceptance. Suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist only strengthens their hidden power over you. Feelings denied become feelings intensified. It is not weakness to feel fear or sadness. Strength lies in acknowledging the feeling without allowing it to control you. It is in facing what you feel honestly and yet choosing to act according to your values rather than your momentary emotional state. There will be moments when emotions rise like a flood, overwhelming and intense. Mastery does not mean you will never feel overwhelmed. It means that even in the flood, you remember that you are not the emotion. You are the observer, the one who can step back, breathe deeply, and respond thoughtfully. You may feel fear, but you can choose courage. You may feel anger, but you can choose forgiveness. You may feel sorrow, but you can choose hope. Another essential part of emotional mastery is the ability to reframe your emotions. Emotions are often based on how we interpret events, not just on the events themselves. Two people can experience the same setback, and one may feel crushed while the other feels motivated. The difference lies in the interpretation. You have the power to choose the meaning you assign to your experiences. Instead of seeing failure as proof that you are not enough, you can choose to see it as evidence that you are growing, stretching, daring to try. Self-talk plays a crucial role here. Your internal dialogue can either amplify destructive emotions or redirect them toward constructive ends. If you fail and immediately think, I'm useless, you will feel despair. If you fail and think, this is an opportunity to learn and come back stronger, you will feel resilience. Mastery involves training your mind to speak truth to yourself, especially when emotions would lead you into falsehood. Emotional mastery also involves learning healthy ways to express what you feel. Bottled emotions often leak out in harmful ways, through passive-aggressive comments, through bitterness, through emotional shutdowns. Healthy expression does not mean venting uncontrolled rage or drowning others in your sorrows. It means communicating honestly, respectfully, and appropriately. It means giving voice to your feelings in ways that build bridges rather than walls. Finally, emotional mastery demands persistence. No one arrives at perfect control over their emotions overnight. It is a daily practice, a lifelong journey. There will be victories and there will be failures. Each day, each moment, you recommit to mastering yourself rather than being mastered by fleeting feelings. Emotional mastery is not about becoming cold or detached. It is about feeling deeply, but living wisely. It is about using the energy of your emotions to drive you toward your highest self, not allowing them to chain you to your lowest instincts. When you master your emotions, you gain the freedom to live purposefully rather than reactively. You become steady in storms, compassionate in conflict, courageous in fear, and resilient in adversity. True emotional mastery is one of the greatest achievements a person can attain. For in mastering your emotions, you master yourself. And in mastering yourself, you open the door to mastering your destiny. Limiting beliefs are the invisible chains that hold you back from the life you are capable of living. They are ideas that have been planted in your mind, sometimes without your awareness, that whisper falsehoods about who you are and what you can achieve. These beliefs are not truths, but if left unchallenged, they function as truths, setting ceilings over your potential and quietly dictating the terms of your life. A limiting belief can sound like, I'm not smart enough, or people like me don't succeed, or it's too late for me to change. These thoughts often take root in moments of failure, rejection, or fear. They may have been spoken over you by others, teachers, family members, peers, or they may have been conclusions you drew from painful experiences. Over time, the mind repeats these beliefs until they harden into internal laws, shaping your expectations and your behavior. The tragedy is that most people never recognize these inner walls. They live inside them, adjusting their dreams downward, settling for less, calling it a realism or immaturity. But in truth, they have surrendered to lies. Breaking limiting beliefs requires first the courage to see them. You must be willing to examine your thinking and ask, is this belief empowering me or imprisoning me? Is this truly who I am, or is this who I have been told to be? Is this the voice of truth or the echo of old wounds? Awareness is the first act of freedom. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to acknowledge. Once you recognize a limiting belief, you strip it of much of its hidden power. You bring it into the light where it can be questioned and confronted. Confronting limiting beliefs involves more than simply rejecting them. It involves replacing them. The human mind does not function well in a vacuum. If you pull out a lie but leave the soil empty, another lie will soon grow there. You must replace false beliefs with empowering truths, truths that align with your real identity, your real capacity, and your real calling. For example, the belief I always fail and must be replaced with a failure is a part of learning, and I grow stronger with each attempt. The belief I'm not good enough must be replaced with I am growing, improving, and I have inherent worth beyond performance. It is not enough to simply wish you thought differently. You must actively and repeatedly declare the truth to yourself until it becomes the new default setting of your mind. This process takes time. A belief that was built over years will not vanish overnight. But with persistence, repetition, and conscious reinforcement, the mind can be reprogrammed. The brain is incredibly adaptable, what scientists call neuroplasticity, and it will build new pathways in response to new patterns of thought each time you choose to affirm the empowering truth rather than the old lie. You carve a new path forward. Breaking limiting beliefs also requires action. Beliefs are reinforced by experience. If you believe you are incapable and you never attempt anything difficult, your experience will continue to prove your belief. But when you dare to act in defiance of your limiting belief, when you attempt the difficult, when you stretch beyond your comfort zone, you begin to gather new evidence. You start to see yourself differently because you are living differently. Courageous action accelerates the breaking of limiting beliefs. Every step you take outside the prison of fear widens the doorway. Every risk you take, every challenge you face with trembling hands and a determined heart weakens the walls that have confined you. You realize that the limits were never truly fixed. They existed only in your mind. It is also vital to surround yourself with voices that reinforce possibility rather than limitation. The environment you immerse yourself in, the books you read, the conversations you engage in, the people you listen to, will either strengthen your new beliefs or drag you back into old ones. Choose an environment that calls you upward, that speaks to your potential, that challenges your excuses and nurtures your growth. Understand that breaking limiting beliefs is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing battle. New challenges will often reveal old patterns. Life will test whether you have truly adopted new beliefs or simply entertained them for a moment. But every battle you fight internally makes you stronger. Every lie you expose brings you closer to living in the fullness of who you were meant to be. You are not defined by your past, your failures, or the opinions of others. You are defined by the truth of your potential, a truth far greater than any limitation you have believed. Your future is not written in stone. It is written in your mind, in the beliefs you choose to hold, protect, and nurture. Freedom begins when you dare to challenge the voice of limitation and replace it with the voice of truth. You have the power to break every chain, every lie, every limitation. The question is not whether you can, it is whether you will. One of the greatest secrets to true success is learning to value consistency over feelings. Feelings are wonderful servants, but terrible masters. They can inspire, motivate, and uplift, and are also notoriously unstable. They fluctuate with circumstances, moods, and even something as simple as how much sleep you got the night before. If you build your life based on how you feel in the moment, your progress will be erratic. Your commitments will be shallow, and your dreams will remain just that, dreams. Consistency, on the other hand, is the bridge between vision and reality. It is the daily choice to show up, to do what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. It is the willingness to be faithful in the small things, trusting that over time, the small things become great things. Consistency is what separates those who merely hope from those who truly accomplish. Feelings often tell you to quit. They whisper that today doesn't matter, that missing one effort, one practice, one step will not make a difference. But feelings are short-sighted. They are consumed with immediate comfort, while consistency is committed to ultimate purpose. You must learn to listen to your commitment rather than your comfort if you want to build something lasting. When you prioritize consistency, you take your emotions out of the driver's seat. You build habits that function independently of your mood. You train yourself to act according to principle, not impulse. You create a rhythm in your life that does not collapse every time you feel tired, discouraged, or uninspired. This does not mean you become emotionless or robotic. It means you wisely recognize that feelings are temporary visitors, while your purpose is a permanent assignment. It means you honor your deeper commitments, even when your surface emotions protest. True greatness is forged in the mundane. It is easy to act with excellence when you are excited, when the path feels new and thrilling. But what you do when the excitement fades, that is where character is revealed. When the work becomes routine, when the novelty wears off, when nobody is watching, that is where your future is decided. Every great achievement is the result of thousands of unseen, ordinary choices. The athlete trains when no one is cheering. The writer writes when no inspiration comes. The leader leads even when results are slow. It is not that these people never feel like fretting. It is that they have decided ahead of time that quitting is not an option. Consistency requires preparation. It requires building systems into your life that support your goals. If you only act when motivation strikes, you will rarely act. But if you establish routines, accountability, and habits that reinforce your purpose, you make success your default rather than your occasional exception. Small disciplines, practiced daily, accumulate into massive results over time. Consistency compounds. Every time you honor your commitment, even in a small way, you are making a deposit into your future. Every time you push through discomfort, you are strengthening your resilience, your self-trust, your inner fortitude. One of the great myths is that motivation precedes action. In reality, action often precedes motivation. When you act consistently, regardless of how you feel, you often find that the very act of moving forward rekindles your energy, sharpens your focus, and revives your passion. Waiting to feel ready is a trap. Acting faithfully, even when you feel nothing, is the key. Consistency also creates integrity. When you do what you say you will do, you build credibility with yourself. You begin to trust your own word. You no longer live at the mercy of moods. You live from a place of solid inner conviction, and that stability radiates into every area of your life. There will be days when you feel tired, when doubt creeps in, when the path seems endless. There will be moments when quitting feels logical, even justified. But those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments when the decision to remain consistent carries the greatest power. You do not become excellent by doing extraordinary things occasionally. You become excellent by doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently. You do not achieve your purpose by following fleeting emotions. You achieve it by showing up again and again, even when the feelings are absent. Consistency over feelings is not easy, but it is simple. It is a daily choice to honor your commitments. It is a quiet rebellion against the tyranny of emotion. It is the pathway to strength, mastery, and fulfillment. In the end, your feelings will thank you, because nothing feels better than knowing you persevered, that you were faithful to your calling, that you built something lasting, not because it was easy, but because it was right. Choose consistency, and you choose a life of deep, unstoppable victory. Faith and vision are two of the most powerful forces you can cultivate within yourself. Together, they create the internal compass that guides you through uncertainty, challenge, and the unknown territories of your future. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Vision is the ability to see beyond your present circumstances and into the reality of what could be. Without these two working hand in hand, a person drifts, reacts, and eventually settles far below their true potential. Faith begins where sight ends. It is easy to believe in what you can already see, already touch, already measure, but faith calls you higher. Faith asks you to trust in possibilities that have not yet materialized. It asks you to anchor yourself not in what is, but in what can be. It is the invisible foundation beneath every visible breakthrough. No great achievement has ever occurred without first being believed in the heart of someone who dared to trust in the unseen. Vision, then, is the detailed picture that faith clings to. It is the mental image of your preferred future. For grade second, it is the dream that awakens your spirit and calls you into action. Vision gives direction to your faith. Without vision, faith has no target. Without faith, vision remains a distant fantasy. And together, they create a living force inside you, pushing you forward even when the ground is shaky and the path unclear. To master your mindset from within, you must learn to cultivate both a strong faith and a clear vision. Faith gives you the confidence to begin. Vision gives you the clarity to persist. Faith whispers to your soul that you are capable of more. Vision shows you what that more looks like. When you combine the two, you possess an internal power that external circumstances cannot easily defeat. The role of faith is critical when you encounter obstacles because obstacles are inevitable. Every worthwhile pursuit will be met with resistance. Doors will close. People will doubt you. Results will be delayed. Without faith, you will be tempted to quit at the first sign of difficulty. But with faith, you understand that delay is not denial, that obstacles are not the end, but a necessary part of the journey. Faith empowers you to hold steady when evidence is scarce and emotions waver. Vision, too, plays a critical role when times are hard. Vision acts as a lighthouse in the storms of life. It reminds you why you started. It calls you back to your greater purpose when the temptation to settle looms large. Vision keeps your heart anchored in what is yet to come, pulling you forward even when your present reality seems far from your dreams. Developing faith requires deliberate focus. It does not come automatically. Faith must be fed daily, through positive affirmations, through reading and hearing words that uplift, through surrounding yourself with people who believe in possibilities rather than limitations. Faith grows as you act on it, even in small ways. Every time you step forward into the unknown, you strengthen your ability to trust beyond what you can see. Vision, likewise, must be cultivated. You must take time to imagine, to dream, to paint vivid pictures in your mind of what you are working toward. You must dare to see yourself not as you are now, but as you can become. This is not fantasy. This is strategic imagination, the kind that precedes every invention, every revolution, every great movement in history. You must protect your vision fiercely. There will be voices that seek to diminish it, to mock it, to convince you to settle for less. You must hold it steady in your heart, guarding it against cynicism, fear, and apathy. A vision, once planted, must be nurtured with hope, fed with action, and shielded from despair. It is important to understand that faith and vision do not eliminate challenges. They prepare you to face them. They do not guarantee ease. They guarantee endurance. They do not spare you the climb. They inspire you to continue when the climb is steep. They transform setbacks into stepping stones, failures into lessons, and waiting into preparation. In your journey toward mastering your mindset and winning from within, remember this: every external victory is born first in the unseen arena of faith and vision. Before you build a business, a relationship, a legacy, you must first build a belief inside yourself that it is possible. Before the world sees your triumph, you must see it clearly within. Faith says, it is possible. Vision says, this is what it will look like. Together, they form the engine of perseverance, the fountain of creativity, the wellspring of courage. Without them, you drift. With them, you soar. You may not see all the steps now. You may not know exactly how it will happen. That is not your responsibility. And your responsibility is to believe and to envision, to keep walking when the path is unclear, to keep building when the material seems scarce, to keep trusting that what is planted in faith and watered by vision will in time bear fruit beyond what you could have imagined. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not with external enemies, but within the arena of your own mind. Each day presents a new battle, a fresh choice between fear and faith, doubt and confidence, defeat and victory. Winning from within begins by mastering the daily battle of your thoughts, because every action, every decision, every outcome originates first in the mind. Your mind is the control center of your life. It is where your beliefs are formed, where your dreams take root, where your fears whisper and your hopes sing. The thoughts you entertain most often shape the emotions you feel, the attitudes you carry, and the actions you take. If you neglect the battleground of your mind, you will find yourself constantly reacting to life instead of intentionally creating it. Winning the battle of the mind daily is not about having perfect thoughts all the time. That is not realistic. It is about becoming aware of your thoughts and intentionally choosing which ones you will give power to. Every day, countless thoughts pass through your mind, but not every thought deserves your attention, your energy, or your agreement. You must learn to become the gatekeeper of your mind. Imagine your mind as a beautiful garden. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds will produce life-giving, vibrant fruit, thoughts of gratitude, courage, creativity, love, and hope. Others will produce weeds, thoughts of fear, jealousy, resentment, and defeat. Winning the battle of the mind means consistently pulling out the weeds and nurturing the seeds that bring life. This is not a passive process. It requires daily vigilance. You must catch negative, limiting, and toxic thoughts early before they take root and grow strong. A passing thought of fear may seem harmless, but if you dwell on it, water it with attention, and allow it to spread, it soon becomes a deep-rooted belief that influences your actions and steals your potential. One of the most powerful ways to win the battle of the mind daily is through intentional focus. What you focus on expands. If you continually focus on what you lack, you will feel impoverished no matter how much you have. If you focus on obstacles, you will feel stuck. But if you focus on opportunities, growth, and possibilities, your mind will begin to find solutions, to ignite energy, and to move you forward. You must also speak to yourself intentionally. Your internal dialogue has immense power. Often, people are their own harshest critics, speaking words to themselves they would never say to another human being. Winning the battle of the mind means replacing self-criticism with self-encouragement. It means learning to coach yourself through challenges rather than condemning yourself for shortcomings. Affirmations and declarations are tools that help reshape the mental environment. Speaking positive truths over your life, even when you do not feel them yet, conditions your mind to align with those truths. Statements like, I am capable, I am resilient, I grow stronger through challenges, may seem simple, but repeated daily, they begin to rewire your inner narrative. Another key to winning the mind's battle is managing your environment. The voices you allow around you greatly influence the voices inside you. If you are surrounded by negativity, cynicism, and fear, it will be far harder to maintain a victorious mindset. Choose to fill your surroundings with people, media, and influences that strengthen your faith, inspire your dreams, and challenge your limits in a healthy way. Gratitude is a secret weapon in the daily battle of the mind. It is impossible to be both grateful and fearful at the same time. When you intentionally count your blessings, you shift your mind from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Gratitude magnifies the good, minimizes the bad, and gives you strength to face whatever lies ahead. Persistence is crucial. Winning the battle of the mind is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. Some days will be easier than others. Some days your mind will be flooded with doubts, fears, and discouragements. But even on those days, victory is possible. Victory is not the absence of struggle. It is the choice to rise again, to renew your thoughts, and to keep moving forward. Over time, as you win the battle of the mind consistently, you will notice profound changes. You will think differently, feel differently, and live differently, The things that once triggered fear will now trigger faith. Challenges that once intimidated you will now invigorate you. Problems that once overwhelmed you will now become puzzles to solve, not reasons to quit. Winning the battle of the mind daily does not guarantee that life will be easy, but ensures that you will be equipped to handle difficulties without losing hope, equipped to pursue your dreams with resilience, equipped to create a life not dictated by circumstances, but directed by vision, purpose, and inner strength. Victory begins in your mind. Each day you choose your thoughts. You choose your future. Guard your mind, feed your mind, train your mind, and you will win from within, not just once, but again and again, until it becomes the very fabric of who you are. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have journeyed through the great inner landscape where the real victories are won or lost. We have seen that the battles we face are not primarily against circumstances or people or the challenges of the world around us, but within the hidden chambers of our own hearts and minds. It is there in the silent decisions, in the unseen disciplines, in the steadfastness of the soul that greatness is born. It is there that the dreams are kept alive through faith. It is there that vision is nurtured when evidence is nowhere to be found. It is there that consistency outlasts the fleeting emotions of the moment. It is there that courage rises again and again to answer the call of destiny. True mastery is not about controlling the world. It is about mastering ourselves. It is about choosing what is right over what is easy. It is about believing in what is possible when everything seems impossible. It is about sowing seeds of hope and strength into the soil of our own minds, watering them daily with discipline, faith, and love. No one can win this battle for you. No one else can think your thoughts, guard your heart, or carry your vision. It is a personal, sacred journey, one that each of us must walk. But the reward is greater than words can tell. For when you win within, you are no longer at the mercy of what happens around you. Wyatt Chirby, you become a creator, a leader, a light in a world that so desperately needs strength, hope, and unwavering vision. And so I charge you today, rise daily to the battle within. Feed your faith, nurture your vision. Value consistency over fleeting feelings. Train your mind to believe the truth even when lies surround you. Choose, day by day, to win from within. Because the one who masters their mindset becomes unstoppable, not through the absence of adversity, but through the presence of an unshakable spirit. You were not created to live defeated. You were born to overcome. You were destined to rise. And that journey begins not out there, but right here within you. Thank you